any of you ever wondered if the techniques that you're using, the imaginal acts, the affirmations, the scripting, the visualizations, they could be the very thing that is keeping you stuck, holding you back from seeing your results? The way that I look at it a lot of the times is that techniques can often, when approached with the wrong mindset, they do become the training wheels for the disempowered. Because identity is the engine, not the techniques. And this is the thing that gets confused so much in this community. I understand. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're taught a lot about techniques. There are some incredible techniques out there that help you to shift your mindset and state. And it can sound like a bit of a paradox, right? That your techniques could be the very thing holding you back. It sounds like it goes against absolutely everything that every single one of you has ever been taught. But today I'm going to share a really amazing manifestation, success case file from a client of mine who was trapped in what she calls like a 2 years of purgatory. So we're talking obsession, we're talking anxiety, we're talking failure, complete failure, like nothing was going on with her specific person. And she was doing everything right, but still everything was just going so wrong. So I'm going to break down exactly what happened with her. We're going to dissect her journey piece by piece. And I'm going to reveal to you, which rarely ever gets done when it comes to sharing clients' testimonials in this community. I'm actually going to share with you the precise hidden psychological patterns that kept her imprisoned. And I'm going to give you the pattern unlock that finally set her free, just in case any of you are going through something very, very similar, which I know, reading the comments out there, a lot of you guys are feeling stuck, exhausted, feeling like you're on your last hope, feeling like you're getting hot and cold behavior or inconsistent results. And this doesn't have to be just manifesting an outcome with a specific person. It could be absolutely anything. But if you are feeling stuck and frustrated with it all, then this debriefing is for you. Pay attention, because this case file is a bit of a miracle, actually, and it came out of the blue. And what I will say is that your manifestation came true, hun, because she had emailed me this, I think, last night. And she was like, I'm manifesting for you to read this. I was just like, girl, you read my mind, because literally earlier in the day, and I kid you not, I had thought to myself, do you know what? I need some more client success stories. Normally I get clients to do, I prefer especially if they're clients of mine, I prefer them to leave me a voice note, just so you can hear the authenticity in their voice and what's going on. But of course, it's not possible for anyone. And you know what? Everyone gets a voice here, even if you've worked with me or not. I'm going to start doing some more case files and breaking down your successes so you can apply exactly what's happened. Why has it worked? Because it's great to hear a success, but that's not what we're here for. We don't want to just hear success stories. We want to understand. We want to break down the pattern. Everything is based on patterns in this. And if you can see the pattern for yourself and apply it, then you know you're going to get results each and every time. This is where my channel and Joseph's channel, for example, this is where we differ from a lot of the other teachers out there. You see, I don't consider myself a guru. I don't even consider myself a teacher, to be honest with you guys. I'm not here to scold any of you for wanting something deeply, or for spiraling when something feels out of your reach, or for being on a journey for years with no results. I'm not here to scold or to judge whatever your desires are. Anyone who has ever consciously manifested anything in their life, whether it's a specific person, money, physical change, car, house, whatever it is, God knows I have done all of those in the 24 years that I've been on this journey. I can tell you, I know that it can sometimes be tricky. I know that it can sometimes be hard. I know that sometimes we get judged for the very things that we desire. But none of you are broken or wrong for desiring what you desire. Right? None of you are a problem or a victim or whatever to your desires. Okay, just because you are feeling like you're struggling right now, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean you can't turn it around. My client, if you met her, if you heard her, and I actually wish she would voice note it, but she's quite emphatically stated it in her story. She was an absolute wreck. I'm not sugarcoating it. I mean, terrible, terrible state. I didn't shame her for once. You know, she'd had enough of that from the community. That's what she was telling me. And from other coaches that were telling her to maybe move past her desires because they didn't have the tools, I suppose, or the understanding enough to guide her through it. And it's okay, but we shouldn't judge people for what that they want because of her SP manifestation, she didn't use it as an excuse to keep herself stuck in an obsession with someone for the longest time. The thing that she did was that she used it to empower herself and to grow, and she's overcome so much. And I just reminded her of something very simple, like when I met her for the very first time. I reminded her of something very sacred, and that is, and this is for every one of you, and this is a juicy gem, you may want to jot it. None of you are manifesting a specific person. None of you are manifesting a particular thing outside there, okay? What you're doing is that you're remembering who you are in that person's world, if it is a specific person, or who you are in relation to that desire. You're remembering the version of you who already has the desire. That's why manifestation is the art of embodying the identity of the version of you that has the desire. It's the art of doing that, despite the 3D evidence. And then what is actually manifest in this world is as a result of your identity shift. This is going to be a key example of that, as are all of the successes that you guys share. Okay, but this is a key understanding. Well, this is this key understanding, I should say. This particular understanding and this information that I give you guys is the reason why success rates are so high in our small community here in Ratio. Because we're not wasting any effort or time in trying to get something and bombarding ourselves with loads of techniques. You guys will know this. So, just watching the little bumblebees. I love bumbles, just like flying around all here. So there's something actually really key that I thought about and I want to share with you guys, because I think a lot of you guys actually give yourself a really, really hard time. And I think what's reminded me actually is this particular success, like I say. I'm going to read it out to you in a bit, but like I said, the importance of this story is sharing with you what's happened, how she's done it, okay? One thing I want you to understand, though, in relation to your desires, and excuse my pronunciation of these ancient texts, but the Rig Veda, or Veda, as I would say it, one of the oldest sacred texts, and it says that desire, which is known as Kama, I believe, Kama is the first impulse of the universe, right? Desire is the first impulse of the universe. So before there was light or form or time, there was just a single desire, and that desire was to exist. So you should never ever see your desires as a weakness. Listen to me. Never see your desire as a weakness. Even if you're feeling in lack for it right now, even if you're feeling bad for it right now, it's not a weakness. It is sacred. It is sacred to you. It's been gifted to you. And it is the first law of creation. So I thought that I would just share that from the Rig Veda, because I thought, I'm going to keep on sharing these specificities from these ancient texts so that you can see how sacred this all is. So you can see how powerful you all are. So you can see that self-blame does not belong in this space. Because the problem is not that you want for something. It wasn't a problem that she wanted her SP. It wasn't a problem that someone wants the wealth or the abundance or the good health. It's not a problem that you want for something. The problem is that a lot of you forgot about the version of you who already has it. That is the problem. Okay, so do you get me? That's the pep talk. Okay, that's the pep talk that we're going to start this all off with. So sit back, relax. Grab yourself a hot drink, guys. You are in good hands. I'm really excited to share this with you because, like I say, I haven't had a proper chance to read it all through in detail. I sort of skimmed it. That way it keeps it fresh for me as well. So cheers, everybody. Here is to all of our successes. Now, I'm going to share with you her story. And it, like I say, is pretty incredible. So it starts off with, oh my God, Athena. Oh my God, Athena. I really hope you remember me, girl, because it's been a hot minute since we last spoke. But you are not going to believe how much has changed since our last call. I had to write this all down, otherwise my head was going to explode. You remember I was a walking disaster. state of obsession, very high, crazy anxiety, and in not much contact or minimal contact with my SP. Plus, been in this purgatory, no movement state for 2 years. When I found you, I was on my last hope. Anyway, I knew you would be the one to help me, and I was right. Guess who is dating her man? Dating with her man. I actually imagined giving you my success story one day, and now here it is. I'm manifesting that you read this out in your next video. There you go, girl. I needed a video topic for today, so this was perfect timing. I promised you, you wouldn't have to chase me down to share my success story. I want to show you my extreme gratitude for changing my life in ways I never thought was going to be possible for me. You're the real deal, Athena, and if my email can help others, then I am happy about that, because my anxiety and attachment was extreme, and I want anyone hearing this to know you are not stuck. And trust me, if I can work through it, you all can, because I was real bad. Just ask Athena. She was. I was next level anxious, obsessed, sad, and desperate, failing, and basically just pathetic at the time. I can admit this now. I was a victim. I was a victim then, and I played it well. So I'll try to keep this to the point, otherwise I'll write a novel here. Laugh out loud. My SP was basically a guy from college who I met and I was totally obsessed with. He was also a wannabe musician, as I was at that time, and we had always kept close, working on music together and hanging out. We never had a relationship yet. We never had a relationship, and yet I could not get him out of my mind. We kept contact, but it was very on and off, sometimes more off than on. We were only sharing likes and stories on social media. He never wanted to meet and never wanted to talk on the phone, just keeping it very brief and polite. I kept thinking, why am I so attached to him? But he made me feel special and heard, and he shared my passion for music. My low self-worth attached to him like glue, though. It didn't matter what I did, I couldn't forget him. I thought he was perfect for me, but the love wasn't there for him. I tried, but he turned me down. He didn't want to be more than just friends. I was trying everything to manifest him to be with me. I was trying to visualize him, but I was so neurotic about getting the details perfect that it just felt like homework that I was failing at. And affirmations, don't even get me started. They just made my anxiety, which I'm literally taking meds for, go through the roof. Plus, I had all this baggage from my religious upbringing, thinking that I was going against God's plan, or something, just by wanting to be happy, and I was full of guilt. It was a huge mess. Honestly, the first big click I had was when Athena made me do the blueprint exercise. I'm going to take you guys through all of this, by the way. I will never forget this, although I know you showed me many things, but this exercise forced me to actually see that I have been a manifesting queen my whole life, and how I did it. Like, I totally forgot that I used to dream about living in New York when I was a kid in Poland, and then bam, my family moves there. And how I forced my way into a famous school of arts and established a successful music career, even when my teachers said I was too shy and I didn't have the best voice to make a career of it. I just knew that if I kept going, it would work out. It was like finding evidence that I've always had this power. But the craziest part of my progress was when we worked on just feeling the flow of the scene together instead of forcing it, and you got me to change my state. It happened so naturally. The anxiety at that moment just dialed way down, and my SP, who was the king of hot and cold, started reflecting back. It wasn't sudden, but I did notice a change in our relationship. He was starting to reply to my messages more. He started opening up in our chats, being more consistent, actually showing that he was scared of being vulnerable too. He even video called me one night out of the blue, and we talked for 3 hours straight. It was a perfect mirror of me starting to feel safe in my own skin. I literally trusted in the work Athena and I did, And it's like a switch went off in me where I stopped trying. I didn't care if he replied fast or not. I didn't let it get to me because I was feeling so strong in myself. I knew he loved me and always had, but I felt only fear held him back, and now was our time. Another thing that blows my mind about this is my manifestation didn't affect just him. It's like my whole world changed. This one girl in our friendship circle who has always been kind of cold and competitive with me, she came up to me out of the blue this week and complimented my work and asked for my opinion on a project. Like, what? And a friend who I had a stupid fight with over a year ago, who I had not spoken to since, texted me yesterday with, "Hey, this is random, but I was thinking about you and I miss you." It's not just about one guy anymore. It's like, by fixing the core patterns I had, everyone is changing around me. I'm not doing 100 techniques. Actually, since our last session, I accepted it was done. And it's been happening and changing from then without me doing anything. I'm still on a bridge with my SP, but we have been dating. He opened up to me and he told me he felt my energy was really heavy back then and it made him anxious of me. Imagine that. Probably because I was so obsessed. He told me he feels he can tell me everything. And he was being all flirty about our future. My mind is blown. You were right, Athena. You told me what was up with him and he reflected this to me. You got some superpower. Anyway, this is long, so I will stop here. I will update you again, but I just want to say massive thank you. You changed my life, and I hope this will help your audience. Love your channel. Oh my goodness. Sorry, that was... Whilst I was doing that, a wasp came and got precariously close to my butt. I didn't want that. So we're going to dissect this and look into her story. I'm going to break it down actually based on her language, because that's what I do best. I analyze people's language to see what was going on, what was happening. One of the main things, of course, was what I call the disease of the technique. So notice how she said that visualizing felt like homework. And she was saying that affirmations really cranked up her anxiety, which is actually very, very commonplace for many people. I've already expressed why that is in terms of cognitive dissonance, and there's other videos to explain that in more detail. But this was particularly critical for her as someone who's a highly anxious person. She was engaging as a result of feeling like she had to keep doing these techniques, as is often taught, right? She was engaging in compulsive, repetitive behaviors. And in doing so, she was doing it with the intention of hoping for some sort of different outcome, which is a very classic anxiety loop to get stuck in. So from an esoteric perspective, because that's the psychological aspect of it, she was acting quite simply from the state of lack and not using the techniques to change her state in so much as to change the outside, to change him. Notice in her language, she said, I was trying to manifest, I think, him to be obsessed with me, or him to come to me, or whatever it is, to have a relationship with me, right? Even in that language, it says to me where her focus is directed at. So because she was doing it, she had this frantic need to do techniques perfectly and to see, oh, am I doing it right? So imagine if you're going into it with that mindset of, did I do it right? Did it? And you start questioning yourself. It's simply a declaration to your higher self, universe, God. You don't have your desire. And the technique then becomes the problem. You've got to remember that, right? Because the technique becomes a problem if you do it in that sense. The frantic need for technique is a prayer to the God of not having it, right? So without realizing it, a lot of people do end up worshipping the very problem itself, the technique. The second pattern that I'm going to break down for you is the evidence protocol. Now, this was really, really important. She talked about the blueprint. Now, I realize that I do this with you guys a lot. When I ask you to share your success stories, to think about your success stories, share them in the comments. Email it to me. I'll put it on the website. I'll read it out. Whatever. I don't care if you coached with me before or not. Every single one of you has a voice, has a success to share. Every one of you can do this has been doing this. This isn't new to you. I'm not teaching you anything new. I'm just reminding you of who you've always been, who you truly are, right? The blueprint was a game changer for her. The first breakthrough wasn't in a new technique, actually, not in her case anyway. It was from excavating the old evidence, because a lot of you have anxiety, right? A lot of you have doubts in yourselves. A lot of you are questioning even if the law is something real. So what better than to accumulate the evidence that you've already got existing? A lot of people have so much evidence. I speak to incredible people all the time in my calls. Do you know how inspired I am by a lot of you? Honestly, I keep saying, you guys inspire me. Like, you blow my mind with the things that you've achieved. So this is part of what I try to achieve in the deep code of all of this, right? We conduct what I call a resource anchor. It's what we're doing in that moment where we do the blueprint exercise. We're conducting a resource anchor. And by that, we find that past instances, so for example, going through her past instances of success, whether it was getting into the music industry, which was really difficult for her, getting into that famous school when she was told that she wasn't talented enough to do it, making a move to New York from Poland, a complete contrast of her life. She did that as a child. So anchoring herself to those successes gave her that feeling of competence, power, confidence in herself in that present moment. This is what I call like a part of cognitive restructuring that we do in CBT, right? It's just to find the undeniable proof that contradicted her core limiting belief, which at the point that she saw me was powerlessness, which was part of why she felt so out of control with everything. So she stopped believing that she was a creator, and she started remembering that she always was a creator. Do you see the difference in my language? It's really subtle, but it's really important. Now, a lot of you would have heard as well the importance of doing that and reminding yourself and stepping into the state. It's part of, not limited to, but part of, for those of you who are perhaps wanting a bit of a scientific perspective, Hebb's law. A lot of you would have heard of this before, the neurons that fire together, wire together. So by deliberately revisiting her past successes, because remember, when you do that and you live out your memories, you're becoming that person. You're rewiring your subconscious mind, your entirety. Remember, subconscious mind is not just in the brain, right? But your entirety, because your body doesn't know the difference between an imagined act that actually happened and one that didn't. If you've got evidence of ones that did happen, it feels like a memory. You already know it's the truth. You're already attached to that story. It's your own success. Then you're literally in that moment strengthening the neural pathways of power, and you're weakening those pathways of victimhood. Remember what Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's what a lot of us do all the time. Do you get me? Are you writing this down? Better be. And you might want to, like I said, all of you have been saying you've been binge watching my videos and you've been watching it over and over again and collecting more notes and finding even more juicy gems that you missed before. I love that you're all doing that. You guys are fabulous. Now, pattern unlock number 3, state of flow. Now, this was the real work, and this was her second breakthrough from breaking out of 2 years of this limbo. I love this purgatory, so drastic. But breaking her out of that and getting her moving from force to flow. So forcing is a conscious mind activity. It's basically your ego is trying to control the outcome. And without knowing it, we all get trapped in that, right? But flow is the state of trance, right? It's the language of the subconscious. That's what you're looking to get into. Your work was never to wrestle with your conscious mind. That's why I don't believe in beating the subconscious mind down with constant techniques and constant repetitions and falsities all the time, just hoping that it's just going to believe me one day, right? I don't beat my conscious mind into submission like that. The work is actually to bypass the conscious mind, which we do a lot in hypnosis, but you could do it yourself in that getting into that state akin to sleep, or that use my passive imagining technique. Again, you bypass the critical factor of the conscious mind into the subconscious. You then impress the subconscious with that new feeling, with that new experience, stepping into the new state, the new identity in that moment when you act it out, when you imagine it, when you embody it. So in that moment, she stopped being the person who was trying to get her SP, which was the state she was occupying for the longest time. And simply in that moment, she entered a state of the person who was already cherished and secure. I mean, this is the essence of what Neville Goddard has been teaching us, right? This is when he said, your assumptions, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. I think a lot of you have heard of that, right? So she stopped chasing, and she stopped chasing, and she stopped trying, and she stopped forcing. And she lived in that moment from the version of her that has, you would have seen my regular community posts. I hope you're all engaging with them, because that's truly important. I'm watching, I'm keeping tabs, and it's great to see you guys actually taking part in that, because what I did notice is that when you're taking part in the exercises, and this is what happens on my Discord community as well, when we do an exercise, they come out of it just like mind blown. It's like, right, state has shifted, another fantastic way of shifting state that doesn't require effort, doesn't require force. This is what I'm teaching all of you to do, right? Even with my community post where I'm saying to you, open your eyes into the new reality. What's the first thing you see? Or I'm giving you these hypothetical questions. It's for a reason. So engage if you're serious about getting success. Now, pattern unlock number 4, I think it is the ripple effect. So that is essentially, now that you've shifted your state, you're going to get the proof of it, right? The final proof, the 3D world changes as the aftermath, as the byproduct, never before. So when she changed, it wasn't just the SP that then changed. The colleague that she was having issues with changed. The friend that she had an argument with changed, came back. Now, why is that? It's because she didn't just focus on changing a belief about her SP. She actually changed her core identity. So she went from being anxious and obsessive and not chosen to someone who was just generally feeling much more secure, loved, prioritized. Because I always encourage people to do it on a general level as well. Yeah, it's great. We've got an SP, right? And it's easy to get completely focused on them. But I always say to people, no matter what they're manifesting, to obtain that general feeling first as your very basis, as building the foundation. And that's what we did with her. So because of that, her entire world changed, not just her specific person, which gives her even more confidence, which grounds herself even more. Because did you notice, as she was saying, she wasn't bothered if he didn't respond to her straight away. Now, you know, for someone who is severely anxious as she was and severely obsessed as she was, I mean, she was counting the days and the weeks since he last responded to her message. I mean, she was obsessively checking, right? But after she shifted, all of that behavior melted away. It wasn't even a conscious decision to not check anymore. She just didn't care, because either way she was chosen, either way she felt loved. She quite confidently stated that, I know he loves me and stuff. It's like, how did you know? Where did you get that from? When I first met her, she didn't know any of that. She didn't think that anyone loved her. That's how she was feeling. Life has no choice but to reflect your identity always, and it will reflect it from every angle. That's why everybody conforms, not just your specific person. Let's throw in a bit of quantum theory, shall we? Just to highlight this point even more. You've got the observer effect. It's essentially the very act of observing a particle changes its behavior. So whilst that is quantum mechanics, it's also a really powerful metaphor for all of your lives right now. Your focused identity, your inner observation, right? This is what collapses this wave of infinite possibilities. In my house are many mansions, just infinite possibilities, infinite states, all existing right now. It collapses it all into the specific reality that you want to experience. It's your focus and attention. So think of this case study, this success, because she's still on the bridge, but I will consider a success because of her mindset. Everything else is inevitable. But use this as your new blueprint. Stop obsessing over the most perfect technique, right? And keep doing techniques every day. Let go of that for a moment. Start to trust in yourself. Start to look back at all of these successes that you've achieved thus far. Start to look at the patterns. That's what Joseph's doing at the moment with his the creation of his app. He's extracting the patterns and the formulas, and it's a consistent result every time. And the only reason I've had so many successes with my manifestations is I've always kept track. All right, I'm not as organized as him. I don't have all of the journals and having written it all down. But my key ones, I've kept track of all of it, what I did, like how I felt. I remember it quite clearly. So you can all do this. There's a reason to my method to my madness of sharing your successes. And there's no such thing as a big or a small success. Even if your success was getting a cup of coffee for free and you never got anything free in your life, it's reflecting something to you, right? So go and find the evidence of your own power. That's the very first thing that all of you should do now. Look at your past. You've done this before. So reclaim that knowledge. Stop looking for new information. You've got it all. It's within you. Second, identify the identity that is creating your unwanted reflection right now, because the 3D is not your enemy. It's not something to be ignored. Many of you are still saying, oh, I tried to ignore the 3D. I know we should ignore 3D. Why? Who's telling you to ignore it? Use it. It's your best friend. It's your diagnostic tool. It's showing you with perfect clarity the foundation upon which you are building your reality. If something isn't working, stop and ask yourself why. How are you interpreting things? How are you looking at it? Is it coming from the version of you that has? Is there some other wounds that need looking into? So a lot of people just want to paint over a cracked foundation, but that's not going to work, right? You have to go deeper. The rest of it is going to take care of itself, I promise you. But I hope that this makes sense. Let me know if this was helpful, because it's great to hear your wonderful success stories. But I think it's even more helpful to break it down in this manner. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful, even if you just said helpful or thumbs up emoji. I want to just get an idea and gauge, because if this is popular enough, I'll go back to sharing some more of your successes. I have been doing so. Not that as many of you were sharing as much as you used to. I think that's because I stopped doing the Wish Fulfilled Fridays, but let's start bringing some more back in. I'll put it on my website. I will share it with you as well. Go to my website, guys, if you love looking at success stories. I've got a playlist full of incredible success stories. Let's start to break them down in a way that you can actually apply. Let's all get the success that we deserve. Thank you all for joining me. We absolutely love and adore you. If you need any one-to-one support, or if you want to join our amazing Discord community, the link is in the description box below. We love you, and we'll catch you in the next